In this video on World of Warcraft, I'm going to show you the best add-ons that I think every player should at least know about, if not be using actively through the entire game. The first add-on I want to talk about is ActionCamPlus. This is an add-on that I literally cannot go without. Like, I would freak out if I didn't have this. This is an add-on that allows you to zoom out incredibly far out so that you can see the entire arena. It is great for raiding, especially if you play a ranged character. If you like me and you like to play all the other classes, this add-on, Hekili Priority Helper, is going to help you learn the rotations of any class, which is super helpful. Now, Hekili Priority Helper is an add-on that basically shows you what your rotation should be. It helps you learn new rotations, especially helpful for elves that you don't play often, that you don't understand, like what they're, what buttons to use, what order to use them in, what to prioritize. As you can see here, I just have to press them in order of what's shown on the screen. It makes it really simple. Honestly, it's hard not to mess it up. It even shows you sometimes when to interrupt. You can also add on like when to use defensives so that it works in defensives into your rotation so that you can use every single, spell to your advantage and get the best out of the class that you're playing. For this next add-on, I'm going to be talking about Shadowed Unit Frames. This gives me this health bar that looks like a giant green rectangle instead of the default one, which I don't really like that much. It has too much space on the screen, too much artwork around it. I just need a health bar. Especially as a healer, it's easier to focus on just seeing the health bar instead of all the random shit that goes with it. This add-on can allow you to get this effect, and if I select myself, you can see here, you get the same for any targets that you may select, like an enemy, a boss, or whatever. Now, this add-on does have capabilities to going on for like raid parties, group parties, and you can change the frames of everything. I specifically only use it for the health bar. I actually prefer the one that's in the base game to show the actual frames. As you can see here, here's a clip from me just doing LFR quick to show you what this all looks like in an example. I kind of prefer my raid frames to be the ones from the base game like this, which you can achieve with just the base game settings. And then to have my health bar look like this, so that it's just easier to keep track of my own health as I'm playing the game. The next add-on has to do with the auction. This is one that you should have been using for a very long time. This is Auctionator. So when you go to an auction, it basically gives you a bunch of options, like for example, going to Auctionator right at the end here, you can actually do a full scan, which will scan the entire auction house and give you an up-to-date basis of like what the price is of items that you at least have in your inventory or that you loot. So if I go ahead and I look in my bags right now at like some of my runes and like, potions or flasks or whatever, you can see here it says auction 20 gold. So I know that Howling Runes are selling in our auction place on my realm for 20 gold a piece. The flasks of Tepid Versatility sells for 60 gold on the auction. So this gives you an idea of how much like random things that you collect in your inventory can sell for on the auction, so that you're not just vendoring them, you can actually sell them on the auction and make some gold on them. It also just makes using the auction a whole lot more simple and, effective. So the next add-on I want to talk about is Bartender 4, and that is how I'm able to lay out my spells like this. I'm able to go ahead and move these bars anywhere I want them, and I can also save it as a preset so that I can load it so that every single one of my other characters can have the same preset without me having to move everything else around manually for every single new character I make or like use or change. I can just use a preset and they all look like this. So all of my characters look like this, and they have the format that I desire with the key layout that, of course I understand. You guys might look at this and be like, what on earth is going on? Maybe you understand it, maybe you don't, but this is how I play WoW essentially. And you can use this add-on to cater for the way you want to play WoW by putting bars and spells anywhere on the screen, wherever you want, in any format, vertical, horizontal. It's completely up to you. The next add-on that I want to talk about, though, is WeakAuras. WeakAuras, you've probably heard a ton about it. It is super helpful once you understand what you want to get out of it. Now, I'm not one who is fully invested in WeakAuras. I only have one WeakAura on my screen right now, and you can probably notice it's this thing with this like countdown that's been going down the entire time. This is specific to the class that I play and the spec that I play. This is for Mistweaver. This is for my Vivify healing, which means after every 10 seconds, I actually get a free cost where this actually doesn't have a timer. So for example, if I'm walking like this, I can press it, boom, and it goes off on that guy instantly. And then it has like another few seconds until I can use it for free again, or like instantly, boom. But if I don't have it, you see there's normally a cost bar. I have to like cost with the cost bar. But once that timer is on, you know, like, and it's like lit up in green like this, it's instant, which I put on my screen so that when I'm walking and I know I have a quick free heal that I can drop on somebody while we're moving, it's the perfect thing to just be aware of. And I guess for every class, you probably have similar WeakAuras. If this is something you are interested in, just to make your life a little bit more easier, especially for tanking, I think there's a lot of good WeakAuras for tanking, like, you know, the stagger bar for like Brewmaster, to keep track of, you know, how long you have on certain buffs so that you don't waste or, you know, overuse a cooldown. I recommend Googling your spec and WeakAuras to find what WeakAuras other people are using for the class and spec that you play. Trust me, you can find some really interesting stuff. The next add-on is DBM, Deadly Boss Mods. If you don't know DBM, I don't know how you've been raiding or doing anything. This is a mod that basically helps you do any kind of content in the game and gives you warnings of timings of like when certain attacks are going to come out, when you should stack, when you should split, you know, basically tells you what to do. This is an add-on that you can almost expect that everybody is using. It's just super helpful for trying to navigate fights and finding the timing of when certain phases are going to start or where certain attacks are about to drop so that you can prepare yourself beforehand, like, you know, for tanks when they can taunt, and for, you know, healers when they should drop big cooldowns for like major phases that are just about to start. Now, going hand in hand with this, there's also a mod called GTFO. I love GTFO because when it first came out, it used to yell at you for when you stand in the fire. It makes a really annoying sound, like a bam, 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 like an alarm. So when you're standing in shit that you shouldn't be standing in, it will make a sound that basically tells you that you should move. And when you move, the sound stops. So it kind of makes sure that you're not standing where you shouldn't be standing. The next two add-ons have to do with Mythic Plus. So if you're not a Mythic Plus player, you can skip right over these. But if you are a Mythic Plus player, you're going to need Raider.io, because this is what people are going to be ranking you on and deciding whether you're eligible enough to join their group or not. Now, this is a rating that you get depending on how many keys you've progressed to, you know, how high you've progressed them, and it gives you a score. So if I open my group finder here and I just go to, you know, pre-mades, you can see here as I hover over these groups here, I can see the Raider.io score for this person over here who's hosting this group. It's 3,157. Their best run has been a plus 16 on AA, and their best for dungeon has been a plus 14 on the Halls of Infusion dungeon that they're doing right now. And you can also see a bit more information on like their mythic score progress on like how many timed runs they've done, as well as their raid progress on all the different raids. So this gives you an idea of how far along this person is. I actually haven't done much Mythic Plus this season at all, but this is an add-on that you will need to at least be aware of what your score is that other people are seeing. And if you don't have a score, people are less than likely to actually have you added because they don't know whether you're going to be a good player or a bad player. This is kind of like your experience. If you don't have enough experience, they don't want you. The next add-on is going to be Angry Keystones. This is a mod that is designed for actual Mythic Plus, which tells you more information of like how many more people that you need to kill in the dungeon, you know, like how the time is progressing. So it gives you an idea of like what time frames you're working on, how many NPCs that, or like monsters that you still need to kill before you can clear the key, before you can like do the last boss or whatnot. This is something more for the tank or the leader of the group to keep track of. Usually it's the tank, to be honest. So if you find yourself needing this information, that is something that you can use at a higher level of play for Mythic Plus. And then we have Details Damage Meter. Now, it's not only a damage meter. Details has a ton of information. Like you can see for healing, I can see who's been doing the top healing for the thing. I can go ahead and right click and change to, you know, damage taken, friendly fire, like all this random stuff I can check, like how many dispels people did. On the last thing, I did 8 dispels, a rogue did 7. So you can check who is dispelling enough in your raid or who is not dispelling enough. You can also check damage done, which is the most simple reason that people get details is to see who's doing the most damage. Like this rogue here doing 323,000 DPS. Jeez. Compared to the feral druid who's only doing 89,000. Man, the rogue is like 3.5 of him. That's crazy. The next add-on is called Plater Nameplates. This changes the nameplates of the enemies so that it looks like this, as you can see from this dungeon footage. This is what the enemy nameplates look like. Now there is like this cool thing where you can change like the different colors, the different shape. You can kind of customize it to how you want it to look. Honestly, this is something I've used for so long, I actually forgot what the default looks like. I'm not going to even lie. Like I actually don't know what the default looks like anymore. It's something that has just become a standard for me. If these look like nameplates that you would like to have in your game, I recommend trying this add-on out. If you're not bothered with nameplates, you know, then you're not bothered. Then it's, you know, it's completely up to you. The next add-on is called Postal, and as you can imagine, this has to do with the mailbox. It just makes the mailbox a whole lot more simple to use. For example, giving you an open all button that opens all of the mail at once. So if you're using the auction house a lot, buying a ton of stuff, or just, you know, getting a ton of gold back for the things that you sell, like these 5 bottles of bleach that I bought as an example, completely random. If I go ahead and click open all, it will open up all of them, put it in my inventory, and, you know, delete the mail piece so that it's clean. It just makes managing your mail a whole lot more simple. If you're not using this, I don't know why you wouldn't be. It's just like a very convenient thing. I don't know why the game doesn't automatically have something like this though. The next add-on is called World Quest Tracker. This quite simply tracks your world quests in a very convenient and easy to use way. I don't know how you would be doing world quests without this, honestly. So if I go ahead and open up my map, you can see here, I can already see all the world quests in this area, and they're also all displayed on the left. And I can actually open up the Dragon Isles entirely like this, and you can see all the quests in the entire region. Give it a second to load in, and you can see like all the ones by gear. So if you're looking for all the gear ones, if you're leveling an ult and you're looking for all the gear slots, if you're just trying to grind gold and you want to do only the world quests with gold, you can go ahead and select the ones with gold. If you want to do just the races, you can select all the world quests from here and, you know, just add them like this so that they all track in the World Quest Tracker on the left-hand side here. For the very final add-on today, we're talking about Leatrix Maps. Now, this is a map add-on that basically changes your map and like puts some more detailed information on the map and makes it easier to, you know, traverse your map. For example, if I go ahead and I make my map big like this, you can go ahead and use this map for a variety of things like, you know, finding dungeon entrances. Like you can see Neltharis is right over here. And if I go to the Dragon Isles, you can get like a bigger overview of the map, Anaran Plains. You can find, you know, more dungeons. You can use the map filter at the top right to search for very specific things that you want to find, like dragon riding races, like all the race locations. So you can see where they're located if you are looking for those trivial quests that you might have already have done. And you can even place a map pin. So you grab a map pin and you'd be like, okay, cool, right over here. And now you have a map pin that you can go ahead and navigate to that location. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you find it helpful. If you think there's any add-ons that other people should know about that you are a huge fan of, let us know in the comments down below, and I'll see you in a future video. Thank you so much for watching.